Hello and welcome to all the Autobots and Decepticons out there. I'm Joe, here with me is my co-host Dan.
Hello and greetings.
And welcome back. We have here today our next Transformers video. And this is both going to be a mocking and yet a praising video. As we have to praise the animation and the actual scene and dialogue of Optimus Prime's death. Now, after Hot Rod says, Optimus, forgive me, for some unknown reason, even though Hot Rod's innocent of any wrongdoing, and he was trying to warn Optimus, don't be a doofus. Why are you monologuing and letting Megatron get the upper hand? And after Megatron mortally wounded Optimus, because Optimus was a dunce, Optimus now lies dying within Autobot City. And he tells his men not to worry about him, as he will soon be one with the matrix of leadership, and that it's a natural process. The entire scene, the way it's framed, arguably is a bit, okay, I'm not trying to get too biblical, but it's reminiscent of the death of Moses, with how Optimus will never see the promised land, so to speak. And he is never destined to see the fall of Unicron and the golden age of the Autobots. At least that's the idea in this movie. I know that the next few seasons screw that up by stupidly reviving Optimus when they really shouldn't have. But the whole idea of Optimus's character here is he will never see it. But he knows in his heart of hearts, so to speak, that it will come about. That they are on the cusp of the arrival of the Chosen One. They are on the cusp of the messianic Autobot who will light their darkest hour and make sure that all are one, bring them all together. On the one hand, to an extent, one can kind of see this scene as a bit of Optimus sinning in a way by virtue of pride, in that his pride will not let him acknowledge that who is the only possible chosen heir? Hot Rod. And I know people might say Hot Rod wouldn't be ready. Neither was Optimus when leadership fell onto him. The difference between Optimus and Primus is Primus chose a manufacturer worker. He chose a working classman, knowing that there was potential there. There was potential, and that only someone of low rank could defend the values of the Autobots. Optimus would rather choose a general rather than a foot soldier. So that Optimus on some level has lost his way. On some level has forgotten his own origins. And I know in a comic, he acknowledges that he knows Hot Rod's the destined one. But he doesn't want to give it to him because he doesn't think he's ready. But the reality is that this is him fighting against a Matrix, Primus, and Destiny itself. And if one considers that Hot Rod, the possibility he might be the reincarnation of Primus, which there are hints of that, this is Optimus turning away from Primus, turning away from what's right in his vanity, and favoring Ultra Magnus, who knows he's not the guy. Ultra Magnus knows he's not the one destined to open the Matrix. He should not be the leader. Ultra Magnus warns him, I'm just a soldier. No, it can't be me. But Optimus insists. And of course the Matrix falls from Optimus's hand at the last minute and Hot Rod catches it, as it is made clear who should be the one chosen. Now, I don't want to spend this entire video criticizing and attacking Optimus, because on the other hand, there's the interpretation that Optimus is choosing the one he thinks is best suited. And if it was not for Hot Rod, Ultra Magnus would be the only choice.
Because on paper, Ultra Magnus has essentially
Everything.
everything. The perfect record.
He's virtuous. He's Gauvin. But it's Hot Rod who's King Arthur. Not Gauvin. Not Ultra Magnus. And Ultra Magnus is someone whom nobody can hate. He's such a great character. But he's ultimately an Optimus 2.0. except a little more impatient and a little less experienced. So that it's almost like Optimus is choosing himself again. And you can't really do that when you're selecting your heir to an extent. On the other hand, Optimus is trying to do what he thinks is best for the Autobots. And it's not for lack of love for the Autobots, but it's just short-sightedness. On the other hand, this scene is one of the greatest in the movie. The death of Optimus is a truly tragic scene. It is one of the best. And the animation is perfect. The dialogue is perfect. Arguably, Optimus Prime's voice actor would never again be able to capture the essence of Optimus as he does in this movie. Ultimately, his work in the Bayformers films is not as good. But here he is just perfect. The passing of the torch is handled perfectly and respectfully. Now, naturally, you had those who said that, like, this is such a bizarre statement, that this scene traumatized a generation of boys. Okay, no. You know what was traumatizing? World War I. That traumatized a generation of boys. World War II did so as well. Even Vietnam. So to say, well, this traumatized a generation of boys. Man, can we swap childhoods? Because if this was the only bad thing that happened in your childhood, I envy you, my friend. I envy you. Because honestly, this death scene was one I really enjoyed. And yes, I felt the heaviness of the loss of Optimus, but I also felt as a kid, yeah, okay, but this is natural. This is normal. Because, it happened in episode 4 with Ben Kenobi. This is the same kind of death, except Optimus Prime is dying with a bit more dignity, it seems. It seemed to my young mind. So I just thought that he died with dignity and grace and class, and that this is perhaps the best death scene in almost all of animated history and all of cinematic history almost. As Optimus goes down, maybe not swinging, but with such grace and wisdom that even Mufasa's death scene, as great as it is, Mufasa dies begging Scar. Optimus dies saying to everyone around him, do not grieve for me, for I am becoming one with the Matrix. And you have them. But Optimus, it's so sad. You're the only father we've ever had to an extent. You have him. Where Zordon ended up dying broken because he was tortured to death by Ivan Ooze, Optimus just tells them, I'm fine. This is how it should be. I knew it was going to end like this. I knew it. Long before this event, I foresaw this would be my ending. So do not feel sad for me. Do not grieve for me. I am actually pretty much, it's almost the Charles I statement. I go from a corruptible crown to an incorruptible crown. This is honestly a fascinating death scene. While I did criticize him for short-sightedness and whatnot, on the other hand, this is almost a biblical scene where you see someone sanctified in a way as they lie dying. And I don't think there's ever been another movie death scene like this. Thoughts?
I will say this, that this may not be the only cartoon death at the time. You read a lot of children's novels.
Yeah.
That a lot of death happens. I mean, around this time, I think Sturm Brightblade
died in Dragonlance. Yeah, and he dies a broken man. You have Watership Down with all the death scenes in there. You have Lion King, where Mufasa dies. You've got countless death scenes in movies and books. But I don't think any of them go down with the kind of dignity and class, and even faith. Faith's a good word, that Optimus Prime goes down with.
We need this escalation because by now the cartoon got stale.
Yeah.
So they had to shake things up.
Yeah. And Optimus's death is an inciting force, an inciting event within the mythos of Transformers. To retcon out this is to basically undermine everything Optimus ever did. And it devalues him as a character into worthlessness. His revival was the worst idea ever, and out to be considered non-canon. Honestly, one should perhaps go from the first few seasons to the movie and then jump directly to Beast Wars and forget everything in between. Because there's nothing worthwhile of any value in between. And this is just ultimately one of the greatest scenes in animated history. And it is, within the context of this film, surpassed only by arguably two scenes. The transmetallization of Megatron into Galvatron, and the rise of Rodimus Prime at the end, as he does battle with Galvatron and then seizes the Matrix and lights the darkest hour. These are the only two scenes that surpass this one in this film. But anyways, tell us what you think, and don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button as though you were Megatron taking down Ironhide.